Welcome to Eva's Heartless Tales. I'm 27. He's 58. And what we do together every morning might just surprise you. Don't forget to like, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more stories that stay with you long after they end. Now take a breath. Let yourself be pulled into this story. Slowly, gently, and without apology. The evening wasn't supposed to be anything special. Autumn had just arrived, folding Brooklyn into its golden arms. The sidewalks shimmered with recent rain, leaves tumbling like colorful confetti. The air carried that perfect crispness. Not sharp, but enough to make you feel a little more awake, a little more alive. I was on my way to an art show hosted by my friend Harper. I wasn't expecting much. Maybe some okay wine, a few odd conversations, and paintings I'd politely nod at while pretending to understand their deeper meaning. The gallery had exposed brick walls, warm lighting, and that unmistakable buzz of people trying to impress one another. A few men wore felt hats and spoke loudly about dissonance and postmodern contrast. I grabbed a glass of white wine and wandered, letting the slight buzz soothe the edges of my nerves. That's when I saw him. He was sitting alone at a small temporary bar. Calm. Still. There was something about the way he carried himself that immediately drew me in. He didn't fit the scene. He wasn't trying to. And yet, the entire room seemed to lean toward him without realizing it. His silver hair shimmered under the lights, like moonlight had taken root. He wore a navy shirt, fitted in a way that suggested quiet confidence. Not trendy. Not trying hard. Just grounded. I looked at him longer than I meant to. And of course, the wine slipped right out of my hand and shattered on the floor. "Are you all right?" he asked, his voice warm and textured, like something between velvet and earth. I bent down quickly to pick up the glass. "Yeah. I just wasn't expecting that." He smiled gently, a soft tug at one corner of his mouth. "Like many good things in life," he said. He offered me the seat next to him. I took it. His name was Adrian. A wine merchant, he told me, though his voice and presence suggested he'd lived many lives beyond that. He talked about New York in the 90s like it was someone he used to love. Chaotic, unforgettable, endlessly alive. His words were carefully chosen, as though each one mattered. His laugh was unguarded and real, the kind that made you want to be just a little bit funnier, so you could hear it again. When I admitted I'd been living mostly on instant noodles lately, he raised an eyebrow. "That's a situation I can help with," he said, amused. We talked about wine, about strange art world conversations, about how lonely a subway station can feel late at night. Eventually he leaned in, not too close, just enough to suggest that something was shifting. "I know a place with the best Bordeaux in the city," he said. And without hesitation I said yes. He drove us to a quiet little restaurant tucked behind a row of brownstones. One of those places you'd never find unless someone showed you. Inside, chandeliers cast soft light across linen-covered tables. The scent of roasted vegetables and aged wine floated in the air. "They make a duck confit here that might just change your entire belief system," he said, scanning the menu like he had done it 100 times before. I smiled. "Are you saying I don't know good food?" "I'm saying I want to show you something new." And he did. The wine was dark, complex, like a poem that only made sense if you read it slowly and after midnight. The duck was crisp on the outside and tender inside, each bite warming me from within. There was something in the way Adrian held his glass, the way candlelight danced on his face. He moved with the kind of ease that comes from knowing yourself, and forgiving yourself too. "Why were you at the gallery?" I asked quietly. He looked at me for a long moment. "I was looking for something different," he said. "Or someone." There was silence. But the kind you didn't want to end. The week that followed passed in a blur. Texts. Long calls. His voice on the other end of the phone felt like a safe place I hadn't known I was missing. He invited me over for dinner again. This time, I wore jeans and didn't bother trying too hard. He pulled up in a sleek black Corvette from 1966. The engine rumbled like it had something to say. He stepped out in a dark jacket, the scent of something clean and expensive following him. "You ready?" he asked, smiling. His apartment was unlike any place I'd been. Records lined the walls. Soft leather couches. Framed black and white photographs that looked like they'd been taken by someone who knew how to listen to a moment. Everything in his space had history. "That's my neglected friend," he said, pointing to a high-end exercise bike in the corner. "I bought it, so now I have to keep it for the guilt." He handed me a record, The Doors' Riders on the Storm. First one I ever bought. I was 16. That night, we stayed up watching old movies. At some point, I drifted off beside him. When I woke, there was a glass of bright green liquid waiting. "Kale, ginger, lemon, spirulina," he said. "Mood booster." I gave it a look. "Looks like it could ruin my whole day." He laughed. "Just try it." That was the first morning. His rituals were simple but intentional. Stretching, meditation, smoothies, quiet time with a book, and then breakfast, oatmeal topped with seeds, fruit, things I'd never normally eat but suddenly didn't mind. We danced to records in the kitchen. We laughed until our cheeks hurt. One morning the neighbors called the police because they thought something was wrong. "Everything okay?" the officer asked. "Better than okay," I said, still catching my breath. The officer left smiling. A week later, Adrian invited me to his house in the countryside. "Just a weekend," he said. "Time to think. Or not think." The drive was peaceful. The sun lit up the fields in soft gold. When we arrived, I couldn't believe what I saw. A white house with green shutters, hugged by trees, the ocean just a short walk away. It felt like something out of a storybook. "This place has seen things," he whispered. We spent the day walking along the shore, collecting smooth shells, laughing at the cold water splashing our ankles. That night, he opened a bottle of Bordeaux that was older than both of us. 1959, he said, handing me a glass. "One of my best." We wrapped ourselves in blankets on the porch, sipping slowly under a sky full of stars. "Tell me something you've never told anyone," he said. I paused. Then I told him everything. The family I don't speak to. The dreams I'd tucked away. The quiet ways I've convinced myself I wasn't enough. He listened. Fully. Not to reply, but to hold it with me. "You're not broken," he said gently. "You're just becoming." I rested my head against him. For the first time in a long while I felt understood. And that's when the mornings truly began. Every day was a variation on a theme. The same, yet never the same. He'd wake up before the sun, play jazz records, blend another strange-colored smoothie. We'd stretch together. Meditate. I never imagined enjoying that kind of stillness, but beside him, it became something beautiful. Afterward, we'd eat oatmeal on the deck overlooking the trees. We'd talk, really talk, about ideas, fears, goals, dreams. He didn't try to change me. He just lived in a way that made me want to evolve. I began to read again. I tried new recipes. I even started writing, something I hadn't done since college. He never pushed. He simply invited. And I followed. So yes, I'm 27. And he's 58. But each morning, we do the same thing. Wake, breathe, grow, love. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. Not for the car. Not the wine. Not the quiet mornings. But for who I've become alongside him. Surprised? Maybe you should be. Because love doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't check your ID or your past. It arrives when it's ready. Quietly, like the sun rising on a brand new day. And if you're lucky, you'll be ready to meet it. If this story moved you even a little, don't forget to give it a like, share it with someone who believes in unexpected love, and subscribe for more stories that go straight to the heart. We'd love to hear what you think. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, keep your heart open and your mornings meaningful.